welcome to the video. If you somehow missed the title, we'll be taking a look at my rendition of the Skywalker Lightsaber. There's been plenty of these made over the years, and there's even an official set now, but I still wanted to make my own attempt at it and really try to nail some of the finer details. This is specifically the Empire Strikes Back version, the most interesting version, in my opinion. What inspired this project was really the grips. Most builds that I've seen, and even the official set, use 8 grips, which makes sense. It's easier to do that in LEGO, but it's not accurate to the movies. The real prop has 6, and I wanted to try to make one that had 6 grips. And I realized if you stack these panel pieces next to each other, they are actually just called panels, by the way, they pretty well resemble the T-track grips that are on the props, and I was able to use these studs with the holes in them to resemble the rivets pretty well. So I'm quite happy with how those came out, even if they are a little big. They certainly look the part, and I was also able to get the Cobalt D-ring on the bottom. I am a bit of a nerd with this prop, so I'll be calling things by their official name. But I was only able to represent one of the 2 rivets that's supposed to be holding that on. I forgot to get a video of the inner mechanism. It's just a bunch of these axle connector hubs, some brackets, and some Technic bricks holding all the panels on. There's actually room for a crystal chamber. I just didn't feel like adding one because lining up those connector hubs is a pain. So here's a studio rendering instead. Moving up to the clamp area, we've got the control box, which is a bit big, but I don't mind. It's got that LEGO charm to it, and it's got quite a lot of details in it. You can see we've got these gold vent pieces, as well as a green plate behind them to represent the circuit card. I really like how you can see the green through the vent pieces. I think it looks quite good. And on the side, we've got the clamp lever, which does move, but everything else is on a 1-stud connection, so it can also move. And spinning it around, you'll see all these 1x1 silver tiles that are wrapped around the clamp. Those are meant to resemble the textured tape that was on this prop. Not during production, they used a simpler tape to cover up the Graflex logo, but it was found in the archives with this textured tape, and that inspired the Revenge of the Sith prop, so it's canon enough for me, and it looks good. And one final detail is this jumper plate representing the threaded hole that the clamper lever would have gone through. Moving up to the top of the hill, it becomes evident that my main focus was the grips, as this is perhaps the weakest part of the build. But I don't mind. I still try to nail some of the smaller details, like these 2 black circles that represent the accessory ports. Pretty much every build of this saber I've seen has them at a 90-degree angle, which again makes sense for LEGO, but I really wanted to get them in the correct spot, and the rest of this section may suffer from it. As you can see, it's a little bit messy, but I don't mind too much because I like the rest of the hilt. And you can see it's got the 2 red buttons, which clearly defines this as the Empire Strikes Back version. And spinning around, you can see these 2 studs, which represent small parts of the real camera flash that was the original prop. One of them being this rivet for what's commonly known in the community as the beer tab. It's a piece of metal that this button can unscrew from, and it'll spin around so you can plug in additional accessories. What kind? I don't know. It's from the 30s. But the feature is still there. And then this other stud on the side represents the sliding switch that would have turned on the camera flash. And finally, we have the emitter, which is perhaps the weakest part of the whole build. There just wasn't room to get anything else in there, especially when I wanted to get that S-curve correct. Again, I don't mind too much. It serves its purpose, and I think the build as a whole doesn't suffer from it. So I think that about wraps up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.